We are back by the Bitterroot River, and it's a warm day. It's in the upper 80s, so I didn't go too far today. But you can see, even though it's getting towards the end of June and it's a day in the high 80s, there's still snow up on there. But we are heading this way today. This is Skalkaho Bend Park. Came here in the beginning of May, right before my trip. At the time, things were a lot less green than it just started. And now 6 weeks later, with those long days and warm temperatures, and it's been, fairly wet, you can see things have really grown. And I'm heading into that part of the park underneath the trees because there will be more shade there. We were also here last week at the other end of the park, in River Park, and there we didn't go in because there was reports of a moose. Now, from what I've heard, there's probably still a good chance I will see a moose there, or there's a possibility. But, if you're waiting to go somewhere where there's no chance of a moose in Montana, you'll never leave your home. And I will exercise caution. I will make noise and look ahead of me, but I don't think that's going to be a major problem. Well, there's a plant that's very familiar from the Pacific Northwest. Some type of Herculeus. Could be cow parsnip. Probably not giant hogweed, but something in the carrot family that I need to be careful of. So obviously you can tell from the difference from my last videos here that there's a lot more undergrowth. Very rich and lush. I should also note, this is a Sunday in June, hot day, and there was actually some cars at the entrance, and I passed 3 people going out as I was coming in, but as you can tell, along this prime stretch of beach, there's no people right now. You can see there's exposed rock, there's different channels here. And we're a little bit after the highest water, the meltwater period, but not that much because that's usually May into early June. And so this year was a low snowpack year, and that might present problems for us later. And it is pretty hot today as I walk along. So I'm going to head out across here. Might get my shoes a little bit wet, but that's kind of part of the deal. I'm going to check out this little islet. We do have some type of ungulate track here. And those look just to be deer sized, but I don't know what moose tracks specifically look like. In any case, both would be obvious possibilities here. So the C-slit was not too hard to get to, and I'm just going to skip across this little side channel. And so in a week or 2 weeks, this could just be something you can walk across with no water. And if you look in the water, you can see all those little white flecks. And at first, that might look like pollution. That is the seeds of the cottonwood plant. And that's why it's called the cottonwood, because it has these... Oh, I missed a frog. There was a frog that just jumped in. Yeah, so the cottonwood plants, the seeds, ended up flying everywhere, especially this time of year. So there is a lot of interesting stuff here, including frogs. And here we have this little channel. Looks like it's going from the river to feed like a little side channel. I'm going to hop over it and see what's over in this direction. I've come to the end of this piece of land, and so that channel, I could wade across it, but I don't think there's a reason to. I'll just head back. So the river has many shifting channels, and you do have to be aware of that. Try not to get lost. But on the other hand, if you do get lost, it's kind of part of the fun. Device is too hot. Video quality may be affected. Wow. All right, back on the main trail. And I think I said in my video of this park that I made in March, it's not that big, especially by Montana standards. It's like, I don't know, mile long, couple 1,000 feet wide, but big enough to get lost in. So back by the main channel of the river, and the river here is centralized and running pretty fast. one thing to remember is even though it's gotten hot here, there's still snow up on the mountains, and that's where this water is coming from, more or less. So this water is still really cold, and it's really not until, like, I don't know, a 2-week window of opportunity in September where this water like warms up. So that can be dangerous because people are having a hot day, so they will go and take a dip in the water, and that can cause hypothermia. So even though it looks beautiful, be careful. It's actually a good lesson for life in general. Anyway, I've just kind of been wandering around. I'm going to start to wander back this way a little bit. Device still too hot. Video quality might be affected. I guess we'll find out. It's time to render this. Might be a nice effect. Here I've stepped out of the beach, or the cobbly beach, and I'm in the shaded part. And if I had to think about the overall point and pick out a theme, it would be change and how quickly the ecosystem changes here over the course of a year. Because especially coming from the Pacific Northwest, where you have mild winters and then actually also mild summers, the difference here is really sharp, where if you look at what it was like in late April and now, 2 months, it's gone from winter to being a really hot summer, and it's gone to being lushly green when it was just leafing out at the end of April. And in Oregon, for example, that would probably take between the end of February and still the end of June or into July before it got really hot. So that is all is interesting to me. And a lot of times when I remember Montana, when I'm away, I remember what it feels like to be here, leafy June day, walking by the river, and not what it's like in March when everything's dun colored. And of course, also, I came from Costa Rica, where there is very little variation. There is variation in rain, but not in the length of the year or the temperature. So it is quite a shock to me, even though I've been here many times, to see how quickly things change and how different it feels between now and 2 or 3 months ago. One thing to mention is I did see a few more people, as I walked around the park, and several people fishing and also just out hiking. So, there's a few people here, but as you can see, it's still, you have a lot of room. And then I was also just going to say, when I came here, I had a big, long list of things I wanted to do and places I wanted to go. And I thought, I'll just go out 4 or 5 times a week, every day. And, it's just natural to slow down, especially with hot weather. But I still have a list, and there still will be more places. But one thing is that, this is obviously an interesting place. And I've said this many times before. I gave a 2-month interval for what this park looks like, but I could give weekly intervals, and it would be interesting because there's so much change. So I hope that was interesting, and there will be more later.